are a woman living in the poverty-stricken continent of South America. During the day, you stay at home watching your kids, cooking or cleaning while your husband is at work. Then, every Saturday night, you get all dressed up in your most colorful skirt and bowler hat. But you're not going shopping. You are going to your weekly wrestling match. Seems pretty far-fetched, right? Wrong. There are women and girls in Bolivia, South America, that spend their Saturday nights wrestling other women and men. This group of daredevils calls themselves the Flying Cholitas, and they are reshaping the way people think of South American women. But it's not just these women. Women all over in third world countries risk punishment to play a sport they love. Countries like South America, Africa, and India all have cultural limitations to keep women from playing sports. But that hasn't stopped women like the Flying Cholita wrestlers, Team Africa Rising women cyclists, and an Indian Olympic badminton player from competing. Next, let's travel to Africa and visit Team Africa Rising women cyclists. These women have been told all their lives that their bodies are too weak to handle the physical strain that competing in a sport involves. But that hasn't stopped them. Until last year, Team Africa Rising was an all-male team. But now they have included women from Eritrea, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, and Rwanda. Denise Tesire, a Ghanaian member of Team Africa Rising, has said that women have less time to compete simply because they happen to do more domestic work than men. And men have used that reason to keep these women from playing sports. But these women wanted more, and Team Africa Rising gave it to them. Team Africa Rising doesn't want to compete simply to win and gain fame. They want to compete to inspire women, especially women of color, to stand up and do what they believe in. Now, in South America, the Flying Cholitas are taking a pretty abrupt path to national fame. In South America, the word Cholita describes a mixed person. That means one parent was a native of the land and the other was a settler. And that doesn't seem too bad until you realize that natives and settlers were never allowed to legally marry, which also meant that the Cholitas were illegitimate. And it was a serious crime to be an illegitimate child back then. Most of the time, these children were scorned, exiled, and treated unfairly. The Flying Cholitas took a word that degraded so many women and they turned it into a compliment. But even their outfits prove how they're overcoming adversity from their past. When Spanish settlers arrived in Latin America, they enslaved many women, forcing them to wear colorful voluminous skirts and tiny bowler hats as a sign that they were in service. The Flying Cholitas have proven that they don't care what the world thinks of them and that they are willing to stand up to their past. And then finally, in India, a woman named Pusarla Venkata Sindhu has just received a silver medal in the 2016 Rio Olympics for badminton. She has a different story to tell than the rest of these women. Her challenges did not come from other people taunting her, but from her own body. In the US, boys, girls, men, and women can all play sports without being discriminated against. But they all have to overcome challenges that their own bodies create. Those are the kinds of challenges Pusarla had to overcome. Her father would wake her up before sunrise every morning and take her and drive her almost 30 miles one way to the Indian Badminton Academy, where she trained from sunup to sundown. Even though she was working her tail off every day, her coach came up to her and said, "I need you to do something else. You need to give up your phone and sugary drinks. Because if you are going to make it to the Olympics and win something, you have to stay focused." Could you imagine an American teenager giving up their phone and soda just to compete in a sport? That doesn't happen. These women in South America and Africa and India have proven that they can overcome adversity and that they can do great things. But they still need our help. They need our help and our support. And there are two ways that we can support them. The first way is we can pray for them. We can pray for the flying cheerleaders that they will gain national fame and recognition. We can pray for Team Africa Rising that they can continue to inspire people. And we can pray for Pusarla so that hopefully she can win a gold medal and bring even more honor to her family and her country. But the other way we can support them is we can watch for them. We can watch for the flying cheerleaders and see if they can make it to maybe the US to wrestle here. We can watch for Team Africa Rising and see if they can make it to all countries in Africa, not just those few. And we can watch for Pusarla in the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo to see if she can win that gold medal. Thank you.
Thank you.